Silence fell over the cavernous chamber as the human delegation stepped through the massive doorway. All eyes from hundreds of alien species turned toward them. Ambassador Elaine Monroe took a deep breath, her heart pounding against her ribs. The Galactic Council chamber stretched before them, a vast amphitheater, carved from what appeared to be a single piece of iridescent crystal. The ceiling soared hundreds of meters above, disappearing into a swirling nebula effect that cast the entire room in a soft purple glow. This is the moment that determines the future of our entire species, she thought. Every step across the polished floor echoed like thunder in the unnatural quiet. Behind Elaine walked her team of 5 each, chosen for their expertise: Dr. Marcus Reeves, the xenobiologist; General Dana Foster, the military liaison; Priya Kapoor, the cultural specialist; Tom Bennett, the legal expert; and Zach Underwood, the technology officer. They moved as one unit, their steps measured and deliberate. They had trained for months for this moment. The Grand Arbiter, a massive being with reflective skin that shifted between deep blue and violet, raised a limb that seemed to be made of living light. The movement silenced the last whispers. Among the gathered representatives, humanity stands before the Galactic Council. The Grand Arbiter's voice resonated without seeming to come from any specific location. You have been summoned to answer for the breach of Quarantine Zone 16, a violation of the highest order. Elaine looked up at the semicircular tiers where thousands of representatives sat. Each species had their own section, some requiring special environmental conditions maintained by shimmer fields. Her gaze caught on a group of mantis-like beings, their compound eyes reflecting the light. A delegation of gelatinous entities floating in bubbles, and what appeared to be sentient clouds pulsing with electrical energy. Time seemed to slow as Elaine stepped forward to the central platform, which rose slightly as she approached. The microphone was unnecessary. Her voice would be automatically amplified and translated into the thousands of languages spoken by the assembled species. Honorable representatives of the Galactic Council. She began, her voice steady despite her fear. Earth and humanity only recently discovered that we are not alone in the universe. We had no knowledge of the quarantine placed around our system, or the laws governing interstellar travel. Harsh, buzzing sound interrupted her as a representative of the Zolkarian hive, a species of insectoid beings known for their rigid adherence to rules, rose from their seat. Ignorance is not a defense. The Zolkarians' multifaceted eyes flashed with color patterns that conveyed disdain even to human observers. Your ships breached the quantum barrier surrounding your system and entered restricted space. The penalty is clear under galactic law: immediate quarantine and technological regression. Technological regression. Priya whispered beside Elaine. They want to send us back to the Stone Age. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber as several other species signaled their support of the Zolkarians' position. Elaine felt the weight of 8 billion lives on her shoulders. This was going even worse than their simulations had predicted. The Grand Arbiter raised a glowing appendage again. This council acknowledges the seriousness of the breach. We shall hear evidence from all concerned parties. Before rendering judgment, a holographic display materialized in the center of the chamber, showing Earth's first experimental faster-than-light ship, the Pathfinder, crossing what appeared to be an invisible boundary in space. The recording continued, showing the immediate response from nearby galactic patrol vessels and the confusion of the human crew. The evidence is clear. The Zolkarian representative buzzed. The primitive vessel deliberately breached the barrier. Elaine looked at Tom, who gave a subtle nod. Now was the time to implement their strategy, Honorable Council. Elaine spoke again. I request permission to present evidence that was not available to your investigators. The Grand Arbiter considered for a moment, then gestured approval with a wave of light. Tom stepped forward and activated a small device. The holographic display changed, showing internal logs from the Pathfinder. But more importantly, it showed evidence of external interference with the ship's navigation systems. Analysis indicates that the Pathfinder was deliberately pulled across the barrier by an external force. Tom explained. Zach displayed a series of complex equations showing the gravitational anomalies that had affected the ship. We believe this was not a random event, but a deliberate attempt to provoke a violation. The chamber erupted in noise as hundreds of representatives began speaking at once. The Grand Arbiter pulsed with brilliant light, silencing the uproar. "This is a serious accusation." The Arbiter stated, "Who do you claim is responsible for this interference? We do not yet know." Elaine replied truthfully, "But we ask that before judgment is passed, a full investigation be conducted. We believe someone wanted humanity to appear before this council under these exact circumstances." A tall, slender alien with pale, translucent skin and large almond-shaped eyes stood. This was Ambassador Lyran of the Tellurian Confederation, one of the oldest and most respected species in the galaxy. The evidence presented by the humans is concerning Lyran's voice was melodic and calming. "I move that we grant them provisional status while a full investigation is conducted," the Zulkarian representative buzzed angrily. "This is highly irregular humans, are unknown, unstudied, potentially dangerous. They cannot be trusted with interstellar privileges." Elaine felt a moment of inspiration and took a risk. "Honorable Council, if I may," she said, "we understand your concerns and we propose a compromise. While the investigation is conducted, we request that Earth be granted limited observer status, a probationary period, if you will. During this time, we will abide by all galactic laws and restrictions. And what guarantee do we have of your compliance?" The Zulkarian demanded. Priya stepped forward. "Our research into galactic law indicates that we may offer a cultural exchange bond," she said smoothly. A gesture of good faith. This caused another stir among the representatives. A cultural exchange bond was a serious matter, a voluntary sharing of a species' art history, philosophy, and scientific knowledge with the galactic archives. It was both a valuable offering and a significant vulnerability, as it would expose humanity's strengths and weaknesses to the entire galactic community. The Grand Arbiter seemed surprised. "This is an unusual offer from a species in your position. We have nothing to hide," Elaine said, "and everything to gain from peaceful cooperation with the galactic community." The council, chambers filled with discussion as representatives consulted with each other. Finally, the Grand Arbiter raised both limbs of light. "We will recess for deliberation. Return in one standard cycle for our decision." As the human delegation was escorted from the chamber, Elaine caught sight of a figure watching from the shadows. A being with features that seemed oddly familiar, almost human-like but not quite. Its eyes locked with hers for a brief moment before it turned and disappeared into a side passage. "Did you see that?" she whispered to Marcus. "See what?" "Nothing, probably just nerves." The delegation was led to a waiting area, a circular room with walls that seemed to be made of living crystal that pulsed with soft blue light. "Well, that could have gone worse," Tom said, collapsing onto a seat that morphed to accommodate his human form. "It could have gone better, too." General Foster replied, her military training evident in her rigid posture. "The Zulkarians clearly have something against us. That was a brilliant move with the cultural exchange bond, Priya," Elaine said. "And Tom, your presentation of the evidence was perfect. Thanks. But I can't shake the feeling that someone set us up," Zach said, studying data on his tablet. The gravitational anomaly that pulled the Pathfinder across the barrier was too precise, too calculated. But why? Marcus wondered who would benefit from humanity being brought before the council like this. The door to their waiting area slid open silently, and Ambassador Lyran entered the room. The tall alien nodded respectfully to the humans. "I apologize for this intrusion, Ambassador Monroe, but there is something you should know." Lyran's voice was barely above a whisper. "You are correct in your suspicions. The breach of your quarantine was indeed engineered. By whom?" Elaine asked. "That I cannot say with certainty. But you should be aware that certain factions within the council have been monitoring Earth for centuries. Some believe humans represent a threat, others an opportunity. Many are simply curious." Lyran glanced toward the door. "What I can tell you is that your offer of a cultural exchange bond has created quite a stir. It is an unprecedented move from a species in your position. Most would be defensive, secretive. You have shown wisdom beyond your years. Thank you," Ambassador Elaine said. "But I sense there's more. You wish to tell us." Lyran hesitated. "There are old legends among the elder races. Prophecies, some would say, about a species that would emerge. from isolation and change the fundamental balance of power in the galaxy. The timing of your appearance and certain characteristics of human psychology have made some very powerful beings very nervous. The alien moved closer, lowering their voice. Further, be cautious. Ambassador. The council chambers have many eyes and ears, not all of which are visible. And know this: whatever decision is rendered tomorrow, there are those who will help humanity if you continue to display the wisdom you have shown today. Without waiting for a response, Liran turned and glided out of the room, leaving the human delegation in stunned silence. Well, that was cryptic, General Foster said after ensuring the door had closed completely. Elaine. The vast crystalline dome of the Galactic Council headquarters shimmered in the light of 3 suns. Ambassador Ryan Walsh took a deep breath as the delegation from Earth approached the imposing structure. A crowd of alien spectators had gathered outside the pristine white walkway that led to the entrance. Some pointed appendages, others clicked mandibles or pulsed with bioluminescence as the humans passed. Behind Ryan walked his team: Dr. Olivia Palmer, xenobiologist; Jamal Washington, strategic; advisor Akira Tanaka, cultural liaison; and Maria Rodriguez, technological specialist. Their faces betrayed no emotion, but Ryan could feel the tension radiating from them. The fate of humanity would be decided today. 5 minutes. Ryan muttered, checking. The advanced timepiece on his wrist were cutting it close. The council values punctuality, Jamal replied. They consider it a reflection of respect. As they reached the entrance, 2 tall humanoid figures with iridescent blue skin stepped forward. Their eyes were entirely black, reflecting the light like polished obsidian. Earth representatives, the first figure said in a melodic voice that seemed to come from multiple sources at once. The council awaits. The humans were led through a series of corridors that shifted and rearranged themselves as they walked. The architecture was impossible, defying known physics, with floating platforms, spiraling stairways that led in multiple directions simultaneously, and walls that phased between solid and translucent. When they finally entered the main chamber, Ryan felt his breath catch. The council hall was even more impressive than the briefing holographs had shown. Thousands of representatives from across the galaxy filled the tiered seating arranged in a perfect circle around a central platform. Some resembled Earth creatures. Others were so alien that the human mind struggled to comprehend their forms. A being made entirely of interlocking geometric shapes, a cluster of gaseous tendrils contained within. A force field, a creature that seemed to phase in and out of visible reality. The ceiling displayed what appeared to be a real-time view of the entire galaxy swirling slowly above them. Individual star systems brightened as they were mentioned in the ongoing proceedings. A hush fell over the assembly as the humans were led to the central platform. A deep, resonant tone echoed through the chamber, signaling the start of their hearing. The Sovereign Council recognizes the representatives of Earth. System, a voice announced, seeming to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. You stand before us seeking formal recognition and inclusion in the Galactic Cooperative. A massive being composed of what appeared to be liquid crystal rose from the highest tier. Its form constantly shifted, flowing between different shapes while maintaining a vaguely humanoid appearance. This was the High Arbiter, the most senior member of the Council and representative of one of the oldest species in the galaxy, humans. Of Earth, the High Arbiter's voice resonated through the chamber, carrying a weight of authority that seemed almost physical. You are the first species in over 2,000 cycles to achieve faster-than-light travel independently without guidance or intervention. Your development has been rapid, unprecedented, and concerning to many. Ryan stepped forward. Thank you, High Arbiter, for granting us this audience. We come in peace, seeking knowledge, cooperation, and mutual benefit. A series of sharp clicks interrupted from one side of the chamber. Ryan turned to see a being that resembled an enormous arachnid, its exoskeleton gleaming with embedded technology. The Teraxic representative objects to this proceeding, the translator conveyed. The humans have not completed the standard observation period. Their warlike tendencies and rapid technological advancement present a clear danger. Murmurs spread through the chamber as other representatives signaled agreement or dissent. Ryan exchanged a glance with Jamal. This was expected opposition from species that viewed humanity as a potential threat. "If I may address these concerns," Ryan said, his voice steady. "The historical record of our species does indeed contain conflict. We do not deny this. But our journey has been one of growth and learning. We have overcome divisions that once seemed insurmountable. We have united our planet under a single governance structure and redirected our competitive nature toward exploration and discovery." Akira stepped forward, activating a small device that projected a series of images above the platform. Earth before and after the global accord, scenes of international cooperation, environmental restoration, technological innovation focused on sustainability, and finally the launch of the first interstellar vessels. "We request the opportunity to demonstrate our readiness to join the galactic community," Akira said. "We bring unique perspectives, valuable scientific insights, and a genuine desire to contribute." Another representative rose, this one resembling a tall avian being with iridescent feathers and multiple sets of wings. "The Quell delegation has reviewed the human application and finds merit in their petition. The standard protocols exist for good reason, but exceptions have been made before for species showing exceptional promise." The council chamber erupted in a cacophony of sounds as dozens of representatives began speaking simultaneously. The High Arbiter raised a crystalline appendage calling for order. "We will proceed with the formal assessment," the High Arbiter declared. "The humans will undergo the 3 trials of acceptance, wisdom, restraint, and foresight. Their performance will determine their status." Ryan felt his heart rate increase. 3 trials. This had not been mentioned in any of their briefings or in the formal application process. He glanced at his team, who looked equally surprised. "High Arbiter, with respect," Ryan said, "we were not informed of these trials. May we request clarification?" The liquid crystal form of the High Arbiter rippled with what might have been amusement. "The trials are not predetermined, Ambassador. They are tailored to each species based on their unique characteristics and potential weaknesses. To prepare would defeat their purpose." The platform beneath the humans began to glow with soft blue light. "As Arbiter, I invoke the ancient protocols." The High Arbiter raised both appendages. "The trial of wisdom begins now." The chamber darkened, and the galaxy display above transformed into a series of complex equations and multidimensional models. Ryan recognized elements of quantum physics, temporal mechanics, and gravitational theory, but interconnected in ways that human science had never conceived. The trial of wisdom tests not only knowledge but the capacity to recognize the limits of understanding. The High Arbiter explained. "Before you is a theoretical model of reality at its most fundamental level. Identify the flaw." Maria stepped forward, her expertise in advanced physics making her the natural choice to address this challenge. She studied the equations, her eyes moving rapidly across the complex display. "The equations define a perfectly balanced system," she said after several minutes of intense study. "But any perfectly balanced system is inherently unstable." She pointed to a section of the model. "The flaw is not in the equations themselves, but in the assumption that they represent a complete description of reality. No model can capture the full complexity of existence. There will always be unknown variables." A murmur spread through the chamber as Maria continued. "The wisdom lies in recognizing that our understanding is always incomplete. That is the paradox at the heart of scientific pursuit. We seek complete knowledge while acknowledging that such completion may be fundamentally impossible." The High Arbiter's crystalline form pulsed with light, a promising response. "The trial of wisdom is complete." Without pause, the platform beneath them shifted, changing color to a deep amber. "The trial of restraint tests the capacity for measured response even when provoked." The galactic display transformed again, now showing Earth surrounded by what appeared to be a massive invasion fleet. Thousands of warships positioned around the planet, weapons charged and ready. "What is the meaning of this?" Ryan demanded, then immediately regretted his sharp tone. The High Arbiter gestured toward the display. "This is a simulation, Ambassador, but one that could become reality. You are observing a fleet from the Trixic Dominion positioned to strike your homeworld. You have 10 of your minutes to formulate your response." The Trixic representative clicked its mandibles in what might have been satisfaction. The humans have advanced weapons on their lunar outposts and orbital platforms, powerful enough to destroy a significant portion of our fleet, but using them would trigger full-scale retaliation. Ryan felt his pulse quicken. This was a test of humanity's restraint, their ability to resist responding to aggression with greater aggression. He gathered his team into a tight circle. "They want to see if we'd jump straight to military action," Jamal whispered. "But they're also watching how we work together under pressure." Olivia nodded. "I think we need to consider the biological perspective. The Turksic are hive-minded. They value collective action over individual choices," Akira added, "and culturally, they respect strength, but define it differently than humans do. They see restraint as weakness unless it serves a greater strategy." After several minutes of discussion, Ryan turned back to address the council. "Our response is threefold," Ryan announced. "First, we activate our defensive systems but do not target the Turksic vessels. Second, we open all communication channels offering dialogue without preconditions. Finally, we transmit all cultural and historical records to the Galactic Council as evidence of our commitment to peaceful resolution." The colossal doors of the Galactic Council chamber parted with a low harmonic tone that resonated through Ambassador Mira Patel's bones. She straightened her midnight blue uniform emblazoned with Earth's new interstellar insignia and stepped forward. Her four companions followed in perfect formation, reflecting countless hours of diplomatic training for this precise moment. The council chamber stretched before them, a vast amphitheater that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions at once. The ceiling was a perfect recreation of the galaxy's spiral arms, swirling in real-time. Representative pods from over 3,000 species hovered at different elevations, some containing special atmospheres, others modified gravity fields, and some what appeared to be pure energy containment systems for non-corporeal beings. Captain Alan Drake, a tall man with steel-gray hair and unwavering confidence, walked beside Mira. Dr. Kendra Wilson, xenopsychologist, moved with careful grace, studying the chamber and its occupants. Professor Victor Torres, Earth's leading physicist, and finally, Liam Conway, security specialist, whose watchful eyes constantly scanned for threats. As they reached the central platform, a hush fell over the assembly. The universal translator, embedded behind Mira's ear, activated, converting the myriad sounds, clicks, chirps, and electromagnetic pulses into comprehensible speech. "The fifth grand convocation of the Galactic Council is now in session, announced to being composed entirely of pulsing blue light." The representatives of Earth approached to petition for recognition. Mira took a steadying breath and stepped onto the elevated platform which hummed beneath her feet. She had practiced this moment 1,000 times in simulation, but nothing could prepare her for the reality of standing before representatives of civilizations that had been exploring the stars when humans were still perfecting stone tools. Honored representatives of the Galactic Council. Her voice was calm and measured as the chamber's acoustic system amplified it perfectly to every corner. "I stand before you representing Earth and humanity. We come seeking knowledge, understanding, and peaceful cooperation." A series of sharp clicks and whistles interrupted. A massive arthropod-like creature, its segmented exoskeleton gleaming with embedded technology, rose from one of the lower tiers. The Hrak collective objects to these proceedings, the translator rendered. "The humans have not undergone proper quarantine and observation. They are an unproven species with a history of internal conflict and environmental destruction. Their admission would destabilize established protocols." Murmurs, echoes, and electromagnetic pulses filled the chamber as representatives reacted to the Hrak statement. Mira had been briefed on the collective, a hive intelligence known for its rigid adherence to tradition and deep suspicion of individually conscious species from another tier, a being resembling a tall humanoid with translucent crystalline skin through which complex patterns of light pulsed rose in response. The Lumidian Concord acknowledges the Hrak concerns, but notes that exceptions to standard protocols have been granted 17 times in the past 8,000 cycles when circumstances warranted it. Given humanity's unusual developmental trajectory and their recent assistance with the Proxima anomaly, we support their petition for evaluation. The Proxima anomaly. Mira noted the reference to the mysterious space-time distortion near Earth's closest stellar neighbor. The anomaly had appeared 3 years ago, shortly after humanity's first successful faster-than-light jump. Earth scientists had provided crucial data that helped contain the phenomenon, but the Galactic Council had been suspiciously vague about its origins. A massive being that appeared to be composed of living vapor contained within an ornate metallic framework floated down to hover near the central platform. Its voice, when translated, seemed to come from everywhere at once. I am Archon Zoth of the Elder Guidance. This convocation shall proceed according to ancient law. The human petition will be evaluated on its merits. The Archon's form swirled with patterns of deep purple and gold. Let the verification of capacity commence. The platform beneath the human delegation began to glow with intricate patterns of light. Holographic displays materialized around them, showing Earth's history, technological development, social structures, and current capabilities. Interesting, said a new voice from one of the highest tiers. A being that resembled a massive jelly-like octopus, its translucent body, housing what appeared to be multiple brains, pulsed with bioluminescence. They achieved antimatter containment before developing effective climate stabilization. Quite unusual. Another voice, this one harsh and grating, came from a reptilian being with scales that shifted color like oil on water. They still maintained nation states despite having planetary governance, a sign of dangerous instability. Kendra stepped forward. If I may address that point, she said, our cultural diversity is actually our greatest strength. We do not seek uniformity, but harmony through difference. Each nation brings unique perspectives to our collective decisions. This diversity has accelerated our development, not hindered it. A ripple of what might have been amusement passed through several sections of the chamber. The verification continues. Archon Zoth announced, a display of your species' cognitive and ethical capacity is required. The holographic displays shifted, showing a complex simulation of an interstellar diplomatic crisis, a disputed resource-rich system, 3 species with competing claims, escalating tensions and the potential for conflict. As a neutral party, how would humanity propose to resolve this situation? Archon Zoth asked. You have 5 minutes to present your solution. Mira turned to her team, who gathered in a tight circle. Their training had prepared them for tests like this. We need to analyze the cultural variables first, Kendra whispered. Species A values ancestral connection to the system. Species B needs the resources for survival, and Species C has the strongest legal claim, but the weakest military position. Captain Drake nodded. It's a classic security dilemma. Each fears the other's intentions, causing defensive actions that appear aggressive, creating a spiral. After a brief but intense discussion, Mira turned back to address the council. Their 5 minutes had nearly elapsed. Our proposed resolution has 3 components, she stated. First, resource sharing with graduated access based on demonstrated need. Second, cultural heritage protection zones within the system to preserve Species A's ancestral connections. Third, a joint development authority with equal representation that builds mutual dependency rather than competition. She paused before continuing. Earth's history has taught us that lasting peace cannot be imposed from outside, but must grow from systems that align incentives. The parties must see cooperation as more beneficial than conflict. We would establish a framework that makes cooperation the rational choice for all involved, while respecting each species' core needs. A thoughtful silence followed her presentation. Several council members exchanged private communications, their appendages manipulating control interfaces or in some cases merging temporarily to share thoughts directly. The HRAC representative clicked its mandibles. A theoretical solution to a theoretical problem proves nothing. The Archon's vaporous form swirled. The verification continues. A display of technological comprehension is required. A new holographics display appeared, showing what appeared to be a complex propulsion system, unlike anything the humans had seen before. Identify the fundamental principles and potential improvements to this system. Archon Zoth instructed. Professor Torres stepped forward, examining the display with intense concentration. After several minutes of study, he began to speak. This appears to be a gravitational wave manipulation drive. He said, "It creates artificial space-time distortions to propel a vessel without traditional reaction mass. The principles combine elements of what we would call quantum field manipulation and metric engineering." He pointed to several components in the display. The efficiency could be improved by reconfiguring these emitters in a Fibonacci spiral pattern rather than the current radial arrangement. And this containment matrix could be strengthened by introducing a phase-locked tachyon field to prevent cascade failures during high-energy transitions. A susurration of surprise passed through several sections of the chamber. Archon Zoth's vaporous form pulsed with what might have been approval. The Lumidian representative's crystalline form glowed more intensely. The humans demonstrate remarkable intuitive leaps. Their technology is primitive, but their comprehension is not. From one of the highest tiers, a new voice joined the discussion. This one belonging to a being that appeared to be a swirling vortex of golden energy contained within a complex geometric framework. The Chai Tesseract Collective finds the human response intriguing. They discerned principles our own engineers took centuries to discover. This suggests exceptional potential for scientific contribution. The verification continues. Archon Zoth announced a final test of ethical capacity is required. The holographic display changed again, now showing Earth itself surrounded by what appeared to be. The enormous chamber of the Galactic Council fell silent as the massive doors parted, revealing the human delegation. Admiral Layla Carter stood tall, her weathered face betraying no emotion, despite the hammering of her heart. Inside her formal uniform pocket, she carried a small piece of earth, a polished stone from the shores of Lake Michigan, a reminder of what was at stake. Beside her walked Professor Gabriel West, xenolinguist and diplomat Owen Parker, security specialist, Dr. Natalie Reed, xenobiologist, and Samuel Torres, chief engineer. Together, they represented humanity's best hope in this unprecedented crisis. The council chamber was a vast amphitheater that seemed to defy conventional physics. Its ceiling displayed a perfect real-time representation of the galaxy, with various sectors illuminated to indicate the hundreds of civilizations present. The tiers rose in perfect circles filled with representatives of species so diverse that human language lacked words to describe many of them. Crystalline beings that refracted light in impossible patterns, gaseous entities contained in elaborate technological shells, creatures composed of what appeared to be living liquid metal, and thousands more. As the humans approached the central platform, murmurs rippled through the assembly. The universal translator in Layla's ear converted a cacophony of clicks, whistles, electromagnetic pulses, and chemical emissions into comprehensible speech. The humans approach, primitive yet bold. They request what no emerging species has dared. Massive being composed of swirling golden energy descended to hover above the central platform. Its form constantly shifted between intricate geometric patterns, too complex for human minds to fully comprehend. This was the grand arbiter of the council, one of the oldest living entities in the known galaxy. The fifth grand convocation is now in session. The arbiter's voice resonated without seeming to come from any specific source. The representatives of Earth approach with an unprecedented petition. The platform beneath the humans' feet illuminated as they reached the center. Its surface rippled like liquid crystal before solidifying. Layla stepped forward, acutely aware that every movement, every expression was being analyzed by thousands of alien intellects, some operating on cognitive frameworks utterly unlike human consciousness. Honored representatives of the Galactic Council. Her voice was steady despite the pressure. I stand before you representing Earth and humanity. We come seeking not only recognition but intervention. Her words caused an immediate reaction rippling through the assembly. A tall insectoid being with an exoskeleton that gleamed like polished obsidian rose from one of the lower tiers. The secret hive mind objects to these proceedings, the translator rendered. The humans have not completed the standard observation period. Their civilization is barely 200 years into its industrial phase. Their petition violates all established protocols from another tier. A being that resembled a massive cephalopod floating in a tank of luminescent fluid countered. The Melosian Enclave notes that exceptional circumstances may warrant exceptional measures. The anomaly detected in the humans' home system represents a potential threat to multiple sectors. The Council's mandate includes addressing such threats regardless of the petitioner's development stage. The Grand Arbiter's form pulsed with golden light. The humans will be permitted to present their case. The Council will then deliberate according to ancient law. Layla nodded in acknowledgement. The diplomatic team had briefed her extensively on Council protocol. She activated a small device on her wrist, projecting a holographic display above the platform. 3 standard cycles ago, our deep space monitoring stations detected an anomaly in the outer reaches of our solar system. She began. The images showed what appeared to be a distortion in space-time, a swirling vortex of energy that defied conventional physics. Initially small, it has grown exponentially. Samuel stepped forward. Our analysis indicates that the anomaly represents a rupture in the quantum substrate of reality itself, he explained. The display shifted, showing complex mathematical models. This is not a natural phenomenon. It bears the hallmarks of advanced technology far beyond our current understanding. Dr. Reed continued. Our projections indicate that if the anomaly continues to expand at its current rate, it will reach Earth in approximately 30 days. From there, it could potentially spread throughout this sector of the galaxy. A being composed of what appeared to be living crystal rose from one of the middle tiers. Its voice, when translated, had a musical quality. The crystalline accord has reviewed the human data. Our preliminary analysis confirms their assessment. The anomaly bears similarities to the Veil Cascade that destroyed the Proxima sector 3,000 cycles ago. This is indeed concerning. From the highest tier, a being that appeared to be a swirling vortex of purple fire contained within a complex geometric framework joined the discussion. The Elder Conclave notes that such anomalies do not form spontaneously. Nida. Energy signature suggests deliberate creation, a weapon perhaps, or an attempt at unauthorized dimensional transit. The Sikri representative clicked its mandibles in what might have been skepticism. The humans are a pre-space flight civilization. They have only recently achieved limited interstellar travel. How did they detect this anomaly with such precision? The question implying that the humans might have fabricated the evidence or worse, caused the anomaly themselves. Gabriel stepped forward. 2 solar cycles ago, Earth was visited by a small research vessel from the Arcturian Science Directorate. He explained. They provided certain scanning technologies as part of a cultural exchange. Our detection capabilities were temporarily enhanced. Ripple of reaction spread through the chamber. The Arcturians, known for their neutrality, rarely engaged with developing worlds. From a midsection tier, a being composed of swirling mist contained within an ornate metallic exoskeleton rose. The Arcturian. Exchange with Earth was authorized by subcommittee decree. The being confirmed. We verify the human account. In fact, it was during routine monitoring that our researchers first noted quantum instabilities in their system. We provided detection technology to confirm our findings. The Grand Arbiter's form pulsed. The nature of the anomaly is clear. But what do the humans request of this council observation? Evacuation. Layla took a deep breath. This was the critical moment. We request direct intervention, she stated. We believe the anomaly can be neutralized with the proper application of technology. Our scientists have developed a theoretical approach, but we lack the means to implement it. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of sounds and signals. Some representatives rose in apparent objection. Others communicated rapidly with their neighbors. The Jikri representatives' mandibles clicked furiously. Preposterous. This violates the prime directive of non-interference. Their civilization is not ready for direct technological sharing. The Grand Arbiter pulsed with brilliant light, silencing the uproar. The human proposal will be heard in full. Samuel activated another holographic display, showing a complex device. Our theoretical model suggests that the anomaly can be stabilized and then collapsed through the application of a resonance field, tuned to the specific quantum frequency of the distortion, he explained. The principles are similar to your own harmonic stabilizers used during the Cygnus event, but modified to address the unique properties of this particular phenomenon. We seek neither evacuation nor resignation to our fate. Gabriel added, "This is not just about saving Earth. The anomaly threatens this entire sector of the galaxy. In coming before the Council, we fulfill our responsibility to alert the galactic community to a common danger. The crystalline representative's form pulsed with light. The human theoretical approach has merit. Our preliminary analysis suggests a 73% probability of success with proper implementation. The Zikri representative remained opposed. The Prime Directive exists for a reason. Premature exposure to advanced technology has led to the collapse of 16 civilizations in recorded history. The humans must evolve at their natural pace." Natalie stepped forward. "If I may address that concern," she said, "we understand the wisdom behind the Prime Directive. But consider this: the anomaly itself represents an unnatural intervention in our development path. It was not created by natural processes. Something or someone has already interfered with our system's natural evolution. The question now is whether that interference will be allowed to proceed unchallenged." Her words caused a profound silence to fall over the chamber. The Grand Arbiter's form pulsed with multiple colors as it processed this perspective. A new voice joined the discussion from the highest tier, a being that appeared to be composed entirely of geometrically perfect light patterns arranged in a complex three-dimensional lattice. The Luminar consciousness finds the human argument compelling. The Prime Directive preserves natural evolutionary paths. The anomaly represents an artificial deviation. Therefore, intervention to counter it would actually restore the natural order, not disrupt it. The council chamber filled with discussion as representatives debated this interpretation. The Grand Arbiter observed silently its form shifting between different geometric configurations. Finally, it expanded, filling the central space above the platform with golden light. The council will recess for deliberation. Return in one standard cycle for our decision as the H. The vast crystalline doors of the Galactic Council chamber parted with a resonant hum that vibrated through Ambassador Sofia Rivera's bones. She took a deep, steadying breath as she led the human delegation forward. Each step echoed across the cavernous hall as thousands of alien representatives fell silent, watching the newcomers with a mixture of curiosity, suspicion, and in some cases what might have been fear. Behind Sophia walked her carefully selected team: Dr. Alexander Reed Quantum, Physicist Commander Elena Volkov, Military Liaison Dr. Jason Chen, Xenobiologist, and Director Marcus Williams, head of Earth's newly formed Interstellar Relations Bureau. They moved in perfect formation, a united front representing humanity's first official delegation to the Galactic Council. The council chamber was a marvel of alien engineering, a perfect sphere that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. The walls shifted with patterns of light that mapped the entire known galaxy, while the floor beneath them appeared transparent, revealing the swirling gas giant the station orbited. Representatives from over 3,000 worlds occupied tiered platforms that spiraled around the central speaking area. Some species resembled Earth life forms, while others defied human comprehension. Beings of pure energy contained in technological shells, crystalline entities that refracted light in impossible patterns, massive gas clouds that shifted color to communicate creatures, with multiple limbs and sensory organs arranged in configurations that seemed random to human eyes. As the human delegation reached the central platform, a hush fell over the assembly. A being composed of what appeared to be liquid light descended from the highest tier. Its form constantly shifted between complex geometric patterns while maintaining a vaguely humanoid shape. This was the Grand Arbiter of the Council, one of the oldest entities in the galaxy, and its most respected mediator. 17th Grand Convocation of the Galactic Council is now in session. The Arbiter's voice resonated without seeming to originate from any specific location. The representatives of Sol 3 approached to petition for recognition and assistance. Sophia stepped forward onto a circular platform that illuminated beneath her feet, casting her in a soft blue glow. The universal translator at her throat hummed as it prepared to convert her words into the thousands of languages spoken by the assembled representatives, esteemed representatives of the galactic community. She began, "I stand before you, representing Earth and humanity. We come seeking understanding, cooperation, and assistance in a time of unprecedented crisis." A harsh buzzing sound interrupted her as a massive insectoid being rose from one of the lower tiers. Its exoskeleton gleamed with embedded technology, while compound eyes flashed with patterns of light that conveyed emotion beyond what the translator could render. The Vizcateer Collective. Objects to these proceedings, the translator rendered. The humans have not completed the mandatory observation period. Their civilization is barely into its atomic age. Their presence here violates established protocols and threatens the stability of the galactic order. Murmurs, echoes, and electromagnetic pulses filled the chamber. As representatives reacted to the Vizcateer statement, Sophia had been briefed on the collective, a hive intelligence known for its rigid adherence to tradition and deep suspicion of individually conscious species. From another tier, a being resembling a massive aquatic life form, suspended in a transparent containment field, rose in response. The Narration Concordat acknowledges the Vizcateer concerns but notes that exceptions to standard protocols have been granted 23 times in the past 10,000 cycles when circumstances warranted it. Given the nature of the humans' petition, we support their right to be heard. The Grand Arbiter's form pulsed with light. The petition will be heard according to ancient law. The humans may present their case. Thank you, Arbiter. Sophia nodded respectfully. 3 standard cycles ago, our deep space monitoring stations detected a quantum anomaly at the edge of our solar system. What began as a small distortion has grown exponentially, threatening not only Earth but potentially this entire sector of the galaxy. She activated a small device on her wrist, projecting a holographic display above the platform. The image showed a swirling vortex of energy that seemed to bend the very fabric of spacetime around it. Dr. Reed stepped forward and began to explain. Our analysis indicates that this is a Class 7 quantum rupture, a tear in the underlying structure of reality itself. It is expanding at an accelerating rate. If unchecked, our models predict it will engulf Earth within 20 standard cycles and continue to grow beyond our system. The display shifted, showing mathematical projections of the anomalies. Growth pattern. Gasps and murmurs spread through several sections of the council chamber. A being composed of what appeared to be crystalline geometry rose from one of the middle tiers. Its voice, when translated, had a melodic quality. The Tesseract. Conclave has analyzed the human data. Our preliminary assessment confirms their findings. This anomaly bears striking similarities to the quantum cascade that destroyed the Vega sector 4,000 cycles ago. This is indeed a matter of galactic security. The Vizcateer representative's mandibles clicked in agitation. If this assessment is accurate, then protocol demands immediate quarantine and evacuation of essential genetic samples. Not technological intervention. Commander Volkov stepped forward. With respect to the Vizcateer representative, evacuation is not a viable solution. Earth's population exceeds 8 billion. There are insufficient resources within our system to transport even a fraction of that number beyond the anomalies projected. Range Dr. Chen continued. Our analysis suggests that this anomaly is not a natural phenomenon. Its quantum signature contains patterns consistent with artificial generation. This was created deliberately. His words caused an immediate reaction throughout. The chamber species representatives turned to their neighbors in apparent shock or concern. Some sections erupted in heated debate, while others fell into stunned silence. The Grand Arbiter's form pulsed with multiple colors. That is an extraordinary claim. The Arbiter's voice carried a new intensity. Do you have evidence to support it? Sophia nodded to Marcus, who stepped forward, activating another holographic display. This one showed complex quantum wave patterns. Our analysis detected coherent patterns within the quantum fluctuations. Marcus explained. Natural phenomena exhibit random distribution at the quantum level. This anomaly contains repeating sequences that can only be the result of intelligent design. He manipulated the display. Highlighting specific patterns, we've identified what appear to be embedded signatures consistent with advanced technology. From the highest tier, a being that appeared to be composed entirely of swirling golden energy contained within a complex geometric framework, descended to hover near the central platform. I am Elder Tholos of the Luminar consciousness. The being's thoughts translated directly. We have conducted our own analysis of the quantum signatures. The humans are correct. This anomaly was created deliberately, a weapon of immense sophistication. The chamber erupted in chaos as representatives demanded explanations, accused each other, or called for immediate action. The Grand Arbiter expanded its form, pulsing with brilliant light. That silence the uproar, order, the Arbiter commanded. This is a most serious development. If the anomaly is indeed an artificial weapon, then this council must determine who deployed it and why. The use of quantum disruption technology was banned by the Arcturus Accords 12,000 cycles ago. Sophia stepped forward again. Honored representatives, we come before you with 3 requests. First, immediate technical assistance to neutralize the anomaly. Second, an investigation into its origins. And third, provisional protection status for Earth. While we develop the means to defend ourselves against such threats, the Vizcateer representative buzzed angrily. The third request is unprecedented. A species at their development stage cannot be granted protection status. It would give them access to technologies they are not evolutionarily prepared to handle. A new voice joined the discussion from one of the middle tiers, a being that resembled a tall, slender humanoid with skin that rippled with patterns of stars and galaxies. I am Ambassador Neeler of the Valoran Concord. The being said, we note that the standard development protocols assume natural evolutionary progression. The deliberate targeting of a pre-galactic civilization with a quantum weapon represents an unnatural intervention. That intervention itself has already altered humanity's development path. The Valoran moved with fluid grace, its star-spangled skin rippling. In such cases, the preservation clause of the Arcturus Accords takes precedence over standard non-interference protocols. The question we must ask is not whether to intervene, but how to restore the natural order that has been disrupted. Sophia felt a surge of hope. The Valorans were known for their wisdom and ethical stance. Their support carried significant weight in council deliberations. Elder Tholos pulsed with golden light. There is another consideration. The quantum signatures embedded in the anomaly bear certain markers we have seen before.